I saw an illustration on the Archisource annual magazine and I thought it was really interesting. So it's this drawing by Yipsu, which consists of 3 core colors and a very restricted color palette. But she also used this framing technique, which I think is super useful for a project that I'm doing right now. And the beauty of this illustration is that you don't have to render the entire drawing. You render what's within the frame, and that gives it depth and an indication of what the materials might be, while the rest of the drawing, which is in vector and there's a lot of white space, gives it also a breathing room. I think it's also an efficient use of time because you're not spending so much time rendering, but it's also an effective way of representation. So I'm hoping that I can create something similar for my thesis project. Archisource have been so kind to give me 1 to review, but they're also giving away 2 for my subscribers on YouTube. So more about the book and the giveaway later on in the video. And let's just get started. So this is the 3D model for the thesis project, and I've created about 4 interventions in this building, and the goal is to only render the interventions in detail similar to the illustration in the magazine. The author of this illustration used Illustrator and Rhino, but I'm going to use SketchUp because that's where my model is. But I'm also going to render the interventions in Enscape because I think that will save a lot of time. I'm going to hide the interventions first, and then start exporting the base drawings for the existing building. I'm going to go into Hidden Line Style, go to Edit, and make sure that Dashes is unclicked, and you can also take profiles if that helps with your drawing. And then make sure that your camera is set to parallel projection, and I'm going to save that scene just to refer back to it if I need to. You can also rename it. And then I'm going to go into File, Export, 2D Graphic, and then export this into PDF. Now I can unhide everything and then hide the base building and then work on the textures of my interventions. So this is how the materials look like once I open Enscape. Make sure that these buttons here are clicked, and that way whenever you make changes to Enscape, it will automatically show you in the live render. So if I zoom in, the materials look actually really great. I've worked on those materials beforehand using either Enscape materials or materials that I downloaded online. So let's go into Enscape Material Editor and let's see how we can change that. So if you open the material editor of Enscape, on this left here, you have all of the materials that's already in use in your project. And then on the right, you have the type of the material and then all of these properties that you can change. And importing material to Enscape is extremely easy. You just click on this here and then import from Enscape Material Library. And then they have a selection of bricks, concrete, fabrics, glass, grounds, you name it, they have it all. And the best thing about these materials is that they come render ready. So if I import any of those materials, they will produce a really good high quality result. Once you click on import, you can see on the bottom left that they can now be applied or edited. So it should already be to your paint bucket, and then you can edit the group and apply those materials. I should have definitely made those a component. If you go back to your material editor, you can change a lot of properties of these materials, such as the image fade. You can even change the color of the textures. And then if you click on here, you can also change the scale of your texture and the rotation. So instead of changing the texture or the orientation of each of those wood planks, you could change here in the metallic or the specular properties of the material if you want it a little bit more glossy. So now let's say that there's some materials that aren't included in this Enscape material library. What you could do is go online and download them. So there's this really cool website that has so many good high quality materials, and I've used it for the ground texture actually. But now I'm gonna download maybe a tile texture to just experiment with that. You can download it as 2K, 4K, I'm gonna go with 2K. Once you download it and export it, you should have all of these files, and these are really important when you are rendering high quality materials. So how do you import these materials is very simple. I would select the eyedropper tool and then select the material that I want to change. And then on the right here, I can go into edit. Where it says use texture image, I can change the texture image to the image or the texture that I downloaded. And that's basically it. Then I could change all of the different properties. For example, the height map. So I'm gonna import a displacement map, which is already downloaded with that file. Importing this displacement map to your materials is so important because this is what makes your materials look super 3D. So now I'm gonna open Enscape once more, and I'm gonna show you all of the settings that I used to create this one, in case you wanna use that for your own renders. And once you open it, it might take a bit of time to export all of the textures that you've imported to it. So just give it a few minutes and it should be good to go. I'm also gonna lift up this pod because I think it's too low. So now let's take a look at the graphic settings that I'm using to export. You've got the main, got your image, atmosphere, sky, and then finally output. In the output, make sure that you have export object ID, material ID, and depth channel, because those will be so useful when you're rendering in Photoshop and you want to select some areas. This will definitely help you. So then I can go to the top here and take a screenshot. And the beauty of Enscape is it takes literally maybe maximum of 1 or 2 minutes to render this image, unlike other rendering engines. So then I can go into my PDF file and open that in Illustrator, and then we can start fixing it up. Whenever I 3D model, I usually 3D model in Revit and then I import it into SketchUp. But the only problem is that sometimes I need to clean up the drawing or clean up some lines just because of modeling issues. It doesn't take that long, but I do wish I could skip this step. But I think it's really important if you want a really clean drawing. So now that's done, I can open my render, and I'm gonna open it in Photoshop and import all of the channels because I want to delete the white background because it's not really white, it's just a little bit of white, which is pretty annoying. So using the magic wand tool, I'm gonna right click somewhere and then use the color range to select, and then go into select, inverse the selection, and then mask that. And that will get rid of the background. And then I can add the white background, and that's all I'm gonna do in Photoshop. So back to my Illustrator file with the line drawing, I can now place my render. So whenever I make changes to my Photoshop file, it should automatically update in Illustrator. And I think this is the best workflow because I am opening the render maximum size in Illustrator. It'll be super high quality. And then any vector images or vector drawings that I import to that drawing will always stay high quality, instead of doing it the other way of importing everything into Photoshop where it becomes raster and then it loses the quality. Now I can select my line drawing, scale that up, and make sure that it matches the 3D render. This is the most annoying part for me, but just be patient and it'll work out. So I'm gonna go into the artboard tool, click on here, and then fit to artboard bounds. So unfortunately, this pod is still low. So I'm gonna go back into Photoshop, convert this into a smart object, rasterize it. It's just so I can move this pod to the top. So save, and then open Illustrator, and you can see that it changed, which is great. So now it comes the fun part, where I feel like this whole drawing will come to life, which is add in people, add in plants, and all that. And I've used this website to download all of the vector plants and people, and I think this website is the best website when it comes to things like that because it literally has everything you could possibly need, and I think they're all quite affordable as well. And there's also a page where everything is free, And yes, completely free. Okay, so I've just downloaded the ones that I think I'm going to use. First downloaded this one, and then this one as well has people doing arts and crafts. This is my favorite, just like people gardening. And then this one as well. And then for trees, I only need one. And then this one that has so many plants. And with that, I think I'm sorted with all of the vector files that I'm gonna need. So then adding them to your Illustrator file is really easy, because mostly when you download these files, they're already grouped. So all you have to do is click and drag them to your file. And then it's all about composition and where you want to place the plant. So this is how the drawing's looking like with the tree and the plants. I'm gonna go back into Photoshop because I want to add a grass texture, and then I can use one of these channels and use the color range again to select all of this color, add pattern, and then I can add the grass texture on top, change the scale of it a little bit, press OK, and then I can click V for the paintbrush, X to switch between the white and black, and then using the black I can erase off some of the areas. If you click 2, 3, 4, 5 on your keyboard, it will change the opacity. And I'm gonna click save, and then you can see that it's updated in Illustrator. The top part or the top floor, I feel like it might not be reading well because of the garden that's on the lower level and they intertwine with one another. So I think I'm gonna add like a gray flooring just to make it read a little bit better. And with that, I'm just gonna use the pen tool to sketch that out. I'm gonna do it very roughly, and then I can go back and select the points and adjust them. I think that's kind of the easier way to do stuff. And if you click on A and then click on the individual points, it will help you select them. And I'm gonna add that to one of the lower layers where it's under all of the plants. But now I need it on this corner here, so I'm gonna duplicate it again, put it on the top layer, and then I mean, I could just draw that myself, but I'll fix up the lines a little bit. Right, and now I could also add a few lines just to show where this pod is coming from. And now we're almost done. I'm just gonna add loads of people to give a sense of scale as well. So this is the final drawing. I'm really happy with how it came out. I think it's exactly how I pictured it in my head. There's loads of breathing room, but also lots of color and life, and kind of shows the type of activities that would happen in this building. Because this drawing is about different changes or the interventions that are designed within the building, I think it would also be really great if I separated each intervention to a phase. That way it can also be read as this is the first stage, second stage, third stage, and so on, and maybe see how that would look. So now let's get back into the book. This is the Archisource first annual publication, and if you don't know about Archisource, it's a platform on Instagram, or a page on Instagram, where they share students' work from across the globe. And I was so excited to receive this book because it doesn't only contain like beautiful illustration, but it also has very rich text explaining the process of the drawings, process of the project. And I'm not gonna lie, the first time that I've received this book, I think I read about 50% of the book in one go, and then the rest I read it on a camping trip because I was just so excited to read about it. So it has curated projects and the process that the designers went through. It also has a lot of infographics and statistics about critical conversations in the industry, and I really enjoyed reading all of these stats because it made me feel like I'm part of a community and how many people have struggled with motivation, commute time, print costs, facilities. It made me feel less alone in my struggles. And the best part of it is drawings that I would never personally, I just wouldn't know what to write on Pinterest or Google to find drawings like this. So it's really inspiring to have this collection specifically in a book because you can just flick through and see the different ways that you can create presentations. And what I really enjoyed as well is, for example, this drawing where it's about the health hazards of the Yale School of Architecture, and the whole drawing is like different hazards that architectural students might face. And then you can zoom in here, and then there's another one that's line drawing. Another great point about this book is that it will tell you the programs or the softwares that the designer used. So for example, this drawing here, they've used Rhino, AutoCAD, Hand Drawn, and Photoshop. So this is super useful if you're just starting into architecture and you don't know which programs you want to learn to create a specific style of drawing. So my verdict for this book is that it is an extremely useful book for architectural students, and I think I will keep this book for many years and it will continue to inspire me. So as for the rules of the giveaway, all you need to do is like, comment, and share the video, and also make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel and that you follow Archisource on Instagram. But I'll have all of the details to the giveaway in the description box if you want to check that out. I hope that you enjoyed the video and you found it useful. If you're looking for something else to watch, have a look at my previous video. And with that being said, I'll see you guys soon. Bye!